Common Knowledge Trust. We're a New Zealand NGO, and we are going to be putting on a 7-part skills-based online birthing class within the next 2 weeks, both on YouTube, and we'll do one on Facebook as well. In the early 1970s, I was privileged to work with hundreds of fathers and mothers and developed what is now known as Birthing Better and their online birth classes. This is a particular time, isn't it? It's peculiar, it's scary, it's frightening, and childbirth has suddenly changed. When we started in the early 1970s in the United States, there was actually a very high societal expectation that my generation of mothers and fathers all learned Lamaze and Bradley skills. And that meant that the doctors and the labor and delivery nurses in the United States from the 60s to the 70s saw multiple millions of skilled birthing women and skilled birth coaches. But the natural birth movement, actually in the 1950s, were advocating skills only for those low-risk women who wanted to achieve a natural birth, pain-free labor without medical care. And that should never have been the goal. It always should have been that 100% of pregnant women will give birth one way or another, and every single birthing woman deserves the skills so that we can cope and manage, work through, deal with, handle, stay on top of, and feel in control. Throughout our baby's birth, we're doing the activity of birthing our baby, no matter the circumstances. And so what happened was that the idea that birth was divided between natural and medical sprang up, and it got exacerbated in the 1980s with the idea that women don't need skills because birth is natural, and that birth choices and birth plans were going to lead to this flush of natural births and home births attended by midwives. That was never, ever going to happen. And what we did was we put aside even that beginning generation of people my age that were skilled. And now nobody's skilled. And our NGO in New Zealand, Common Knowledge Trust, wants to continue to change that, particularly at this time. So we're going to have a 7-part free online birthing class, and we're going to go over these skills. We're going to go over the body skills, how to map your pelvis, how to create space side to side, how to create space front to back, how to work with the internal soft tissue so that you dilate effectively and that you can prepare down there so this big object coming through you doesn't get stuck. Now, there are women who are going to listen to this who say, well, I'm going to have a cesarean. It doesn't suit me. Yes, it does, because if you prepare your body for birth, you're going to enjoy doing that, first of all, and become closer to your baby and the experience that you're going to have. And as we go through the skills to cope and to manage and to work through, handle, deal with, stay on top of, and feel in control, all those skills you can use while you drive to the hospital, while you're prepped and during surgery and afterwards. We have to get real about childbirth. It's an activity 100% of pregnant women are going to do, without exception, guaranteed. We will birth our baby. It is an activity, and every human thrives on being skilled to do any activity. Sadly, for the past 50 years, and I know because I've been involved in this conversation and I've been trying to drum it into people, that we need to have a very high societal expectation that all families just consider it normal and natural during pregnancy to learn some birth skills. Do they have to learn birthing better? No. Thankfully, there are other skills-based methods. But don't confuse information with skills. Information is what you think about and the choices you make, and skills are what you use during the activity that you're birthing your baby. So we're going to have this online course. We're going to let you know it will be scheduled, so you'll have some time. We will schedule it to probably middle U.S. time. We're in New Zealand, so we're trying to figure that one out so that we don't get the wrong time, right? And we hope that you'll join us, because right now what's happening, for the past 20 years, women have been relying on doulas. They have dismissed fathers as birth coaches. They've been reduced to being a birth support. because the choice-based advocates said skills aren't necessary. Fathers shouldn't coach. Women don't need skills. It's natural. They just need to choose to say no to medical care. And that has never been realistic. 100% of pregnant women will give birth, and we must honor this activity as something we should become highly skilled for. And so therefore, our New Zealand NGO, Common Knowledge Trust, is going to put this 7-course series free online and go over these skills. We're going to go over the breathing, the nonverbal and verbal communication. What happens when we don't like what's going on? We can still use skills because there are 2 parts of our brain. We have to learn to birth. It's as simple as that. Can we avoid medical care? Not likely. Can we work around it and with it? Absolutely, we must. Can we feel empowered by a birth that is incredibly medical? Absolutely. The more we breathe and relax and focus and use our skills to work through our baby's birth journey, that's what we remember. No matter where we birth, who is present, the circumstances, or what happens to or around us. Please spread the word about this. We will schedule it. You'll know on our YouTube channel when it's going to occur, and we're going to do another course on Facebook for those of you who are on Facebook. We're going to actually approach them differently. On Facebook, we're going to start in one end of the skills, and on YouTube, we're going to start at the other end of the skills. What's important after my 50 years of trying to drum into childbirth, the childbirth conversation that we need skills, is that we do. Every single woman who births alone, no matter if she's in a crowd of 100 people. We're the only ones doing the birth. We can't break for lunch, and we can't do it the next day, and we can't replay it. And it is important that we have some essential skills, particularly at this crazy time. We must go into birth feeling confident of our ability to work through this dynamic, life-transforming activity of birthing our baby. So thank you for sharing and spreading the word, and we hope to see you online. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.